Tish James loses another one. She is down $289 million. We know she's been keeping track of this, keeping score like a disgusting hack on her X account every single day, posting how much Trump had to pay in terms of a bond plus interest and so on and so forth. But that number drops way down. It was 464 million. Now it's 175 million, dropping by about 2/3, a reduction of $289 million. Now, of course, $175 million is still disgusting, but it's something that is feasible, something that Trump can do. And in fact, he said he is going to do it, and he's going to be paying cha-ching in cash, as we'll hear from him in a minute. But Tish is not happy about this, nor should she be. And neither are many of the lefties out there all across America, all crying, there's 2 tiers of justice for here. How can Trump keep getting away with this? Like, oh my God, you guys are the ones prosecuting him in the first place. So let's take a look at the order that came down from the Court of Appeals. I don't think this bodes well for Tish and the rest of them in Engeron. But here is what it looks like. Coming from the appellate division for the state of New York, you see the judges on this one are Diane Renwick, Singh, Gonzalez, Pitberg, O'Neill, Levy. And this is the case of Tish versus Trump and the rest of the Trump organization, plus Eric and others. Now, here is what they tell us. From the Court of Appeals, they say appeals having been taken to this court from Engeron's court, entered back on February 16th, and from a judgment in the same court and the same judge, Engeron. So we had an order, a judgment, all the paperwork from Areola Engeron. And the defendants, appellants, have moved, pursuant to the law, to stay enforcement, so that's Trump, of Engeron's order and the judgment, pending hearings and determination of the appeals that we're talking about now. So the Court of Appeals says now, upon reading and filing the papers with respect to the motion, and due deliberation having been had thereon, all the justices up there in the Court of Appeals have said the following, signed here by Susana Molina Rojas as the clerk, says, it is ordered that Trump's motion is granted, sorry, Tish, to the extent of staying enforcement of those portions of the judgment that are the following. So think of it like, bullet points. All of these bullet points, 1, 2, 3, all the way up here through 5, are all going to be stayed. Trump's motion is granted to the extent of staying enforcement of the following. 1, ordering disgorgement to the Attorney General of $464 million, right? That's Tish's big number. That will be stayed. Do not have to do that. As so long conditioned on Trump posting within 10 days, 175 million, which again is like an insane number, but something that's much more reasonable. He may go get a bond for that, have to post, I don't know what a $175 million bond looks like or what the percentages are, but he'll post some money and secure a bond, or maybe he's got 175 and he posts it outright. I don't know. We'll see. But here, posting 175 means you don't have to post the full amount, but also these other things are stayed. Okay. Subpoint 2 is permanently barring Weisselberg and McConney from serving in any New York corporation or business entity. Okay. So they're good. You're clear. Weisselberg, McConney, you're good for now. It's all stayed. Barring Trump, Weisselberg, and McConney from serving as an officer or director of any of New York corporation for 3 years. Also good. Good to do that. You guys are good. Barring Trump from applying for loans. You're good. That should be stayed for 3 years. So that portion of the order is stayed. Barring Trump and Eric Trump from serving as an officer in a New York corporation for 2 years. That's also stayed. And the aforesaid, all that stuff is conditioned on Trump perfecting the appeals in this term of the court, right? So you got notice of appearance, file your appellate memorandum, pay the fee, all that stuff. The motion is otherwise denied. Okay. So like all this stuff was granted. There was a big heaping, bundle of stuff that was all granted, all stayed. So Engeron was putting this into enforcement, and nope, not anymore. All back on hold. The motion is otherwise denied, including to the extent it seeks a stay of enforcement of the portions of the judgment that extend and enhance the role of the monitor. Okay, so the monitor that, I think her name is like Barbara something, who was making millions of dollars off this grift, that's still good. So that's not stayed. Engeron already modified that, and also directing the installation of an independent director of compliance. So in other words, those two things can continue on, but the other stuff has been stayed. So very, very, very good news for Trump. And he, I think, is very happy about that as well. But some people on the left are not. Tish, very unhappy about this. You can see Adam Klasfeld got a summary of her response when she came out. I don't know if she had her shoes on or off when she was writing this, probably off, but she wrote this. She said, Donald Trump is still facing accountability for his staggering fraud. The court has already found that he engaged in years of fraud to falsely inflate his net worth and unjustly unjustly enrich himself, his family, and his organization. The $464 million judgment plus interest against Trump and the other defendants still stands. For now, it does. For now. But it just got cut in by two-thirds, because it was so outrageous and insane, and we'll see how much further down it goes from there. So you can see she's a little bit upset about this, and the bond has been reduced dramatically. And so, sorry, Tish, maybe you should push that back on your X account. So Trump posted this. He said a couple things, that he will be paying this bond in cash. Here was the clip. Trump's walking out. He gets asked about this, and here is what El Trumpo himself says.
Thank you very much. Judge Engoron has done a terrible disservice to the state of New York. What he's done is terrible. Businesses are fleeing, and you see that. We just released a statement on Truth. Businesses are fleeing, and crime is flourishing all over the state, and what he's done is such a disservice and should never be allowed to happen again. New York State is being battered by his decision. So I greatly respect the decision of the appellate division, and I'll post either $175 million in cash or bonds or security or whatever is necessary very quickly within the 10 days. And I thank the appellate division for acting quickly. But Judge Engoron is a disgrace to this country, and this should not be allowed to happen. Thank you very much.
All right, so that's Trump saying, yep, gonna post it as a bond, as cash bond. And here is, I think, one final turnaround reaction from the president. Here is Emil Bove and the rest of the team here. Mr. Trump, how are you going to pay this?
What's your collateral for the bond? Cash.
Oh, mic drop. Cash, baby. Cash, obviously. $175 million. Don't worry about it. All right, so there's Trump, right? And all of these people, including Joe Biden, have been saying broke Don, right? That's their new stupid meme, is broke Don, broke Don, broke Don. He's like, I got cash for it. And we've already seen this. He's got the cash. It's just not for Tish. He's not giving it to Tish, right? It's for other people, like the American people, to be spent in the campaign itself. And so we had some other comments about this entire case from Donald Trump himself. And he was explaining and actually taking some questions on this from the press and the media. Here, let's just play some of this.
My greatest assets, I have no doubt. I didn't even include like brand value. And the brand values, I became president because of the brand, let's say. But the brand values, it's one of the most valuable brand values. So I think I wouldn't swap it for any other brand in the world. Trump, I don't even put anything down for it. I had very conservative statements. And the way they made him look bad is by valuing Mar-a-Lago at $18 million instead of what the real value is, which was at least 50 to maybe 100 times more. Think of that. This is the fraud. They're creating a fraud, and they're hurting the state so badly. And then I can't go into the New York Stock Exchange because I can't do business, because I don't want to do, not because I can't, because I don't want to do business in New York. And the people at the New York Stock Exchange, I can tell you right now, and they're very fine people, they're not happy.
You mentioned cash you had. You said on Friday it's something like $500 million. You intended to put some of that into the campaign. Now that the bond's been reduced, are you going to start putting money into your campaign? You haven't done that since 2016.
Well, first of all, it's none of your business, frankly. But I might do that. I have the option. But if I have to spend $500 million on a bond, I wouldn't have that option. I'd have to start selling things. I don't have to sell anything because it's a phenomenal company. Look, I built a phenomenal company. Someday they'll actually report that. That's very low leverage, unbelievably low leverage with a lot of cash, a lot of everything else. Why should I let a crooked judge make a decision to give $450 million? That allows me to spend very little money on my campaign if I so choose. I'll be spending money on my campaign. I might spend a lot of money on my campaign, but I should have that option. A crooked judge shouldn't say, we're going to have you post a bond and take all of that money that I could be spending on a campaign or other things if I want to do other things. So we were gratified by the professionalism of the opinion today. I think it's a very important opinion for New York, but the only thing that's going to really solve that problem is when I win, because you're going to have to win, because no company is going to be coming to New York if I don't win that case. That case is a scam, it's a sham, and it's a hoax.
Do you ever accept money from a foreign government to pay the bond or their fines or anything?
No, I don't do that. I think you'd be allowed to, possibly. I don't know. I mean, if you go borrow from a big bank, many of the banks are outside of this. As you know, the biggest banks, frankly, are outside our country.
And they're using this as a new point of attack against Trump to say, who paid that money? Did Putin pay it? Did Vladimir wire him $175 million? I knew it, right? And they're going to just go to his bank account and make it up, right? Where it didn't happen. And it's going to be the Russia collusion hoax 2.0. And saying he is beholden to somebody. And more seriously, right, they say say Elon Musk or someone else. And I don't need it. If I needed to, right, I think I would be allowed to. Banks have money from all over the place, but they're trying to hit him over the head with this because they can't possibly believe that he's actually got the cash.
So you could do that, but I don't need to borrow money. I have a lot of money. I built a great company, but I don't want to have a crooked judge named Engoron and a crooked, horrible, the worst, I would say without question, attorney general in the country. The most obnoxious and the worst attorney general.
And stinky, too. Stinky. She takes her shoes off in the courtroom. Oh, my God. Gross.
Whole country. And she did it for political reasons. Go back and take a look at her ads. We will stop Trump. She knows nothing about me. I'd never heard of her. She was advertising and she took ads in saying, we will stop Trump. We will stop him. Vicious. I said, boy, that's a bad one. Then I looked, she got elected. But then she tried to do it with the governor and it didn't work. She went after the current governor, who's much more talented than she is. She went after the current governor. She was very nasty and she polled at about 3%. She polled at nothing. And after 6 weeks or 7 weeks, she pulled out of the race. She ran for governor, on what she was doing to me. She thought that would work. It didn't work. I just think that it's very important that, this is a time when businesses have a choice to go to a lot of places, including other countries. They don't have to stay in our country, but they can certainly go also to a lot of other states. A lot of people going to Texas, Florida, Tennessee, North Carolina, a lot of South Carolina, and you have a lot of competition. You shouldn't be persecuting people that have done a great job. I paid $300 million approximately over the years in taxes here. $300 million. That's a lot of money. And you're going to lose those people that pay all that money, and you're not even going to have a state anymore. They just won't be able to do it. Yep.
Sir, back to the trial here in 3 weeks. Do you plan to testify, and are you...
Which hearing?
The trial here.
I don't know that you're going to have the trial. I don't know how you can have a trial like this.
She's asking about the Bragg trial, the criminal prosecution.
In the middle of an election, a presidential election, and this is a Biden trial. These are all Biden trials because Colangelo works for Biden. Can you imagine they take a guy out of DOJ and they put him into the Attorney General's office and then into the Manhattan DA's office to go after Trump? These are all Biden trials, so I don't know that you're going to have it. I think we're going to get some court rulings. Yeah, please.
All right, we'll see. So that is Trump and, of course, reacting to the Engoron appeal, which is saying he only now has to post $175 million rather than the $464 million. And the left is very, very upset about that. So Trump basically declaring victory on that. Okay, fine. If it's only $1.75, Trump likes to make deals, right? You never pay full price, obviously. Their first offer? Get out of here. I'll give you a third, right? It's like the Pawn Star show. I'll give you $280. I'll give you $175 for it. Hey, it's $474 million. Get out of here. I'll give you $175. They're like, okay, I guess. Here you go. It's Trump, right? Here you go. What can you do? So very upset about it. Whining all over the place. Listen to this guy. He doesn't even have words. That's how mad he is.
And honestly, this is so infuriating. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know if I care what the process is.
I don't care.
That these judges are arriving at. Whatever it is, it's flawed. I can tell you that much.
Okay.
I mean, David put it well. This is a different process for this person. We have decided that he gets his own private court of...
It is a different process. You're right. No one else is going through this. No one else has ever gone through this. You guys have gone insane. So it is a little bit unnerving for you when it goes back to normal. Like when a judge comes back and says, what you guys have done is lunacy. So how about no, we're not doing $464 million. How about 175? Which I don't even know how they came to that number either, right? Where did that come from? Don't even care how it happened. I just want to break something.
Justice. He has a private plane. He has private clubs that he lives in. Apparently, he basically fashioned himself his own private militia to try to take over the Capitol,
Private militia to take over the Capitol. Got it.
Now he's getting his own private system of justice. This is an absolute travesty.
Yeah.
It would not happen for anybody else. Anybody else, it would be like, sorry, buddy, you lost. Pay up. For him, he gets his own set of rules.
Very upset about it.
Legally, Tristan, how is that done?
We just saw it. They just decided that, the appellate court has now just decided they're going to swoop in and just change it. And that's it. And now the AG's office can now try to go up above them. I believe, I don't know what the details are because you just told us. I'm guessing this is coming from the First Department, Appellate Division, First Department. That's the intermediate court here in New York that would be issuing a decision here. I don't know if there's a remedy for the AG's office to go up to the Court of Appeals, which is our high court here in New York, and try to get them to basically countermand this order. But in my view, this is, without knowing more, unless there's some sort of other extenuating circumstance that we're going to learn here, this appears to be an absolute gross miscarriage of justice.
Oh, man, they're so upset about it. And And you can see, you know, I don't know what he's going to have to do to console himself tonight, but it's going to have to be a lot. So this was also this guy. You remember him, Lawrence Tribe. He was BFFs with Judge Ludwig, who talks like in one of the most painful molasses sounding, you know, very slow, very painful. But Lawrence came out. He says, you know, the New York Appellate Court in their unexplained reduction from 454 to 175 million in the bond must post, is it a travesty of justice? Let's hope public disgust with this preferential treatment will come back to bite Trump politically. We're going, what are you talking about? These people have lost the plot so much. The analogy that I've been thinking a lot about is the bully, right? It's like a bully comes and beats you up for your money, takes your lunch money, then calls you poor for not having lunch money, which is basically Joe Biden saying Trump is poor, even though he's under financial attack and onslaught that the federal government is paying, right? How much is Jack Smith costing the government? It's tens of millions of dollars. Trump has to meet that at least. So if they spend 50, Trump probably has to spend 100, right? So it's like the bully coming and beating you up and taking your lunch money and then calling you poor for doing that. In this case, the lunch money can only take a third of it, and you're still the person to blame. Lunch money, they give you back 2/3 of what they originally stole, and then you are in trouble for that, for having a separate system of justice because you get beat up by the bully. These people have lost it. And so Trump, you know, emerges victoriously, I would say. Tish is very unhappy about it. The left is melting down about that. So anytime that happens is a big victory. First deal, never take the first deal, right? Art of the deal, baby. Tish should have read his book. Maybe she would have gotten some more bond money. But major victory for Trump, of course. We're going to continue to cover this appeal. We'd like to see all of it go away. The case absolutely dismissed because it was a giant sham. We covered it here. All of the prior videos from the Engeron case are here. We have them organized into a nice playlist. So check those out if you want to get some backstory on this or continue on in this saga. But we'll be here continuing to cover the Tish saga and her stinky feet. And so hopefully you join us as we do. Thank you for subscribing wherever you're watching this. Thanks for inviting a friend or family member to come on over and join us when we go live here. Thanks for checking out some of the links down in the description below, becoming a member on Locals, supporting our work, grab some extra content, go to watchingthewatchers.locals.com if you want to join us there. Otherwise, my friends, we'll see you back here on the next one.